We've all been there, right? The dreaded bad day. But what if you didn't have to just grit your teeth and get through it? In this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful, science-backed toolkit for not just surviving those days, but actually using them to grow.
Oh yeah, you know exactly the kind of day I'm talking about. The one where it feels like nothing, and I mean nothing, goes right from the moment your feet hit the floor. It's this universal feeling, that sense of being totally drained and just overwhelmed by 24 hours that feels like it's never, ever gonna end.
Well, if you've ever felt that way, the first thing you need to know is you are definitely not alone. And more importantly, what you're feeling isn't just all in your head. There are real biological things happening inside your brain and your body that make these days feel so intense.
So let's start by popping the hood and taking a look. What's actually going on in there on a bad day? Because honestly, understanding the science behind it is the very first step to taking back control.
Okay, so when something negative happens, your body's internal alarm system just goes off. This is what's called the acute stress response. Your sympathetic nervous system kicks into overdrive, and it starts flooding your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart starts racing, your muscles get all tense. Basically, your body goes into full-on fight-or-flight mode, ready to face down a saber-toothed tiger, even if the threat is just a passive-aggressive email.
And here's where it gets really fascinating. Inside your brain, all that stress creates this huge tug-of-war. The activity in your prefrontal cortex, that's the logical, rational part of your brain, it goes way down. At the exact same time, your amygdala, the brain's emotional command center, just lights up like a Christmas tree. This is why it's so hard to think straight. And it's why we start catastrophizing, because our emotional brain is basically screaming over our logical brain.
And just to add insult to injury, there's this thing called decision fatigue. I want you to think of your willpower like a muscle. Throughout a really tough day, you're flexing that muscle over and over and over again. By the end of the day, it is completely exhausted. That's why a super simple question like, hey, what do you want for dinner, can feel absolutely impossible to answer. Your ability to make decisions has literally been used up.
All right, so now we get the science behind why it feels so awful. But the real question is, what can we actually do about it? So here it is, your practical mental first aid kit. We've got 7 simple steps you can take to reclaim your evening.
Let's walk through these. The first 2 are all about your mindset. First, accept how you're feeling without any judgment. Then, separate that bad day from your identity. It was an event. It's not who you are. Next, let's focus on the body. Find a healthy emotional release. Go for a walk, journal it out, have a good cry, whatever works. Then, create a relaxing ritual, like a warm shower to signal to your body that the stressful part of the day is officially over. And finally, you gotta regain control of your focus. Use gratitude to hunt for the good, however small. Limit the extra noise by putting down your phone, and this last one is so important. Plan one small, enjoyable thing for tomorrow. It gives you back that feeling of control.
Now, knowing what to do is half the battle. Knowing what not to do is the other half. There are some really common coping mechanisms that, they feel good in the moment, but they actually end up making things a whole lot worse. Let's look at these traps so you can steer clear of them.
Oh man, we've all been tempted by these, but they are absolutely traps. That quick fix from emotional eating, it usually leads to guilt later on. And retail therapy, that often just piles financial stress right on top of your emotional stress. But the biggest trap of all is rumination. Just replaying the day's negative events on a loop in your head. That is what keeps you stuck in the mud.
Okay, so we've got our immediate toolkit, but what about the long game? How do we get stronger so these bad days don't hit us so hard? It's time to shift from just surviving bad days to actually building the resilience to thrive no matter what comes our way.
This is all about building that long-term mental muscle. It starts with mindfulness, which is just about learning to observe your emotions so they don't get to control you. It gets stronger with a solid support network and by sharpening your own problem-solving skills. But the glue that holds it all together, that's self-compassion. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give to a friend. And part of that kindness is knowing that seeking professional help isn't a weakness. It's a sign of incredible strength.
And here's the key. None of these strategies are one size fits all. You've got to customize this toolkit for your own life. For a parent, an emotional release might look like turning a walk into a silly playtime with their kid. For a student, an evening ritual could be as simple as just turning off the notifications for their school apps. And for someone in a super high-stress job, gratitude might be about reminding yourself that these challenges are just part of the role. It's all about making it work for you.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most powerful idea of all. What if a bad day wasn't just something you had to survive? What if it was actually something you could learn from? This is all about reframing the entire experience. So here it is, the big takeaway. Every single tough day you have is a training session. It's an opportunity to practice resilience and to flex that self-compassion muscle. I want you to start thinking of it not as a failure, but as a workout for your emotional strength.
This right here is the mental shift we're aiming for. It's moving from learned helplessness, that awful feeling that nothing you do matters, to learned optimism. It's the difference between seeing yourself as a victim of your day and seeing yourself as being in control of your response to your day. It's that tiny but powerful shift from, "This is awful," to, "Wow, this is tough, but I can handle this."
So look, the goal isn't to never have a bad day again. Let's be real, they're gonna happen. The real goal is to change our relationship with them. So the next time one comes along, the only question that really matters is this: how are you gonna use it to build a stronger, better tomorrow? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.